The balls to call your ex is often the difference between whether a guy gets his woman back or not. When I help guys to get their women back, I often find that the guy has either been ignoring his woman and hoping that she comes back on her own, or he's been sticking with text and hoping that he can somehow change her mind via text. The thing is, what happens is that when a guy ignores his woman and doesn't contact her in the hope that she changes her mind, in most cases the woman just moves on. He hasn't done anything to re-spark her feelings of attraction, so there's nothing really motivating her to want to come back. Of course, some women do come back when they're ignored because they can't deal with the pain of a breakup or they can't find someone new, so they go back to their ex. Yet, for most guys who are trying to get an ex-woman back, they're not in that situation where the woman isn't going to be able to deal with the pain of a breakup and she's going to come running back because she misses him so much. Most guys who are looking for advice on how to get a woman back have ruined her feelings, right? She doesn't feel respect, she doesn't feel attraction, she's not in love anymore, so ignoring her just helps her move on. In terms of texting, what a lot of guys do is they hope to somehow change her mind via text and build up a connection again and make her miss him via text. So a lot of guys will text as a friend, some guys will text where they're trying to explain where they went wrong and apologize and ask for another chance. And some guys even try to ask their ex-woman out on a date via text. In most cases, what I've seen by helping so many men to get their women back is that a guy who's focusing on trying to get his ex-woman back via text usually gets stuck in text conversations that go nowhere. Alternatively, sometimes a guy contacts his ex-woman, she shows a bit of interest, so what does he do then? He texts back. She then texts back, and he texts back. And that goes on for maybe a day or two or a couple of weeks even at times. Then the woman loses interest and she goes cold. The guy's thinking, damn it, I've ruined my chance, I can't get my ex back, she's not interested anymore. And then in most cases a guy will just stop contacting her in the hope that something changes. Yet all along, what would have worked is that if he just had the balls to call her. Right? I understand that some guys who are trying to get their woman back are blocked, so they can't call. But every other guy who isn't blocked by their ex-woman can call, and they should call. The reason why is that you can create a spark of attraction when you talk to her on the phone. You can make her feel respect, attraction, and love for you even, again, in a way that you cannot do via text. You can create a spark of attraction by using humor, being confident, being masculine in the way that you speak to her, and passing her tests. So with humor, just having the balls to joke around. This particular joke that I'll say now is not going to apply to every situation, but it's an example. The example is a guy calls up his ex-girlfriend and says, "Hey ex-girlfriend, what's going on?" And he starts off the phone call in that playful, easygoing type of way. Another example is where a guy calls up his ex-woman and she happens to be cooking at that point in time. He can say to her, "Oh, what are you cooking? I'm hungry. I hope you're making extra for me," and then have a laugh with her about that. The next example is being confident. You are already demonstrating confidence by calling her, so that already gets you some points. You also just need to maintain your confidence as you talk to her so she can feel that coming across. In terms of being masculine in the way that you talk to her, it's about having that subtle assertiveness and strength in your voice while still being a good man. In terms of passing her tests, women always put men through tests. One test that a guy may encounter, for example, is where a woman will show some interest 1 minute and be uninterested the next. She'll be open and talking and then she'll become cold and distant. She'll be interested in meeting up and then she'll change her mind. Many guys will lose confidence in those moments and they'll start to feel as though they can't get her back. A guy will feel like he's unworthy, that it's just too difficult. She's not interested, he's not going to be able to do it. Yet what she's looking for is for him not to crumble under her pressure, for him to be strong. These sorts of things create a spark of attraction. They get her to respect you. When that happens, her guard starts to come down a little bit. The more attraction and respect that you can make her feel, the more her guard comes down and the more she becomes willing to reconnect with her feelings and become open to getting back with you. Where a lot of guys go wrong is that when they're talking to their ex-woman on the phone, They want to talk about the relationship or ask for another chance. What you have to understand is that before you get her respect back and you make her feel attracted to you and she starts to have proper feelings for you again, she's not really going to want to discuss the relationship. In some cases where a woman has feelings for a guy and she misses him, then it's okay to talk about the relationship over the phone. She'll want to talk about it because she has feelings for him, and she'll be open to discussing whether or not she's willing to give him another chance. Yet, if you're in a situation where your ex doesn't have feelings for you anymore, what you've got to do is create a spark of attraction. You've got to get her respect back. Let her see that you're not intimidated. Let her see that you're not trying to get into a deep and meaningful conversation with her about the relationship. Let her see that you're not trying to suck up to her and get her to hopefully forgive you and give you another chance. The reason why is that before you make her have feelings for you, she's not going to be at that place emotionally, right? She won't be ready to say yes to giving you another chance. Some of the guys that I've helped are reluctant to call their woman because they've tried to talk to her on the phone in the past and tried to discuss the relationship, tried to get another chance, and she was just cold and distant. And that's what I'm talking about here. It's not a surprise that a woman's going to be like that if she has broken up with you and she doesn't have feelings for you, and she's put that wall in between you saying, we're broken up, I don't want to be with you. The way to bring that wall down is to make her have feelings for you again. Once she has feelings for you, then she has a reason to want to talk to you about the relationship, to meet up with you. So when you talk to her on the phone, it's very important that you create a spark of attraction and then have the confidence to actually follow through the rest of the ex-back process. Don't just get her on the phone and make her laugh and then she goes cold and you hang up and you think, all right, I can't get her back. No, you have to be stronger than that. You have to go through the entire ex-back process. You have to keep going until she's back in your arms and she's your woman. Don't give up. A common question I get about calling an ex-woman is, what if she doesn't answer? What do I do then? Right, so if she doesn't answer, what you need to do is try to call her again in an hour. Of course, make sure that you're trying to call her at a time that you think she's going to be available. Alternatively, you call her, and if she doesn't answer, you call her the next day at a time that you think she will answer. And if she doesn't answer the second time, you send her a text message. Send her something like this. Hey Jenny, it's Dan here. There's just something quick I wanted to ask you over the phone. I guess you're busy at the moment. I might try calling you another time then. In most cases, what a woman will do is respond to that text saying, it's fine, call me now. Or if she's being cold and bitchy, she might say, what do you want? Just say it via text. It really depends on your woman. But at the end of the day, you've got to get her on a phone call. If your ex is cold and bitchy and she says, what do you want? Just say it via text. You can just reply back to her, hey, it would be better to say it over the phone. I'll give you a call now. And then give her a call 10 to 30 seconds later. The reason why a call is so important is that she can hear your confidence over the phone. You can get her to laugh. You can get her to see that you're not trying to discuss the relationship and get her back over the phone. What you're doing is making her have feelings for you and relax, right? She's bringing down her guard and is opening back up to you. That's what's important. Then what you need to do is get her to meet up with you and go through the rest of the ex-back process. Of course, some guys aren't ready to contact their ex-woman. They are really hurt by the breakup. They feel insecure. They don't feel worthy of her anymore. And the idea of calling her up makes them feel anxious or nervous. Additionally, when I help guys get their woman back, I often hear guys say to me, I don't think I should call her because she prefers text. Or I don't think I should call her because it might annoy her. And what I always say is, if texting isn't working to get her back, why continue it? If you can attract her on a phone call and get her to meet up with you, why not do that? She may initially feel a bit annoyed or frustrated that you've called her, but when you are being lighthearted and using humor, she will start to relax. When she can see that you're not intimidated by the phone call, you're being confident, and you're also creating a lighthearted vibe between you and her, she will relax. She will forget about the fact that she usually prefers to talk to you via text. She will be smiling and laughing and feeling new emotions with you over the phone. Likewise, when you meet up with her in person and you make her feel respect for you and attraction, she's not going to get angry and say, hey, we should be doing this via text. What you've got to understand is that texts almost always make the process of getting an ex-woman back more difficult. She can play hard to get, she can ignore some of your texts, and she can also feel turned off by what she sees as you being insecure via text. You may have felt confident when you sent a text, but she might read it as you being insecure. The reason why is that she remembers how you behaved leading up to the breakup, during the breakup, and potentially after the breakup. If you haven't got her respect back and you haven't made her feel attracted to you again, she's going to be looking at your texts in a negative way. This is why it's so important to get on a phone call and then meet up with her in person. Hiding behind texts usually leads to a guy losing his woman. He will say, well, she prefers texts and it might annoy her if I call her. You can't worry about those things. If you want her back for real, you've got to focus on what actually works to get a woman back. What works is getting her on a phone call, right? And you being able to make her feel respect for you, make her feel attracted, and get her to meet up with you. And then when you meet up with her, you re-attract her at the meetup, you get her to feel good around you again, and you get the relationship back together. What you got to understand is that when you're trying to get a woman back, she doesn't always have your best interests at heart. This is why a lot of guys find themselves feeling shocked or confused by the change in behavior of their ex-wife or ex-girlfriend after the breakup. She goes from being a loving, warm, caring woman to being cold and closed off and not really caring about him at all. That's her way of trying to get herself to move on from the breakup. It's also a way for a woman to make a guy behave angrily or in an insecure way, and then she has more reasons to justify breaking up with him. So when you're trying to get a woman back, you've got to remember that she's not necessarily going to be trying to help you get her back, right? In most cases, she has broken up with you and she's going to move on unless you have what it takes to get her back, right? You've got to have the balls to call her. You've got to have the balls to meet up with her. You've got to have the balls to make her respect you again and make her feel attracted to you in person. That is what counts, right? So many guys that seek my help, they are in a situation where they're hoping that the woman makes it really obvious that she wants to give him another chance. They're hoping that they can somehow explain to her that they've changed and things will be different, or if they ignore her, she will magically change her mind. Yet that's not the approach that works. The approach that works is having the balls to make something happen. It's the same as picking up women if you think about it. When women get dressed up and they go out to bars and nightclubs, what do? They stand around. They wait for men to come and approach them. They're not going around saying, hey, does any man here want to sleep with me? I've got nice tits and, I give good head. And you guys want to sleep with me tonight? They're standing there acting as though they're not interested in guys, right? That's what women do. They're waiting for a guy who has the balls to come over and make something happen. The same principle applies to the ex-back process with a woman. You've got to have the balls to make something happen, even though she might not be making it obvious or clear that she wants you back. So many cases that I've worked on, the woman actually did want the guy back, but he was hesitating. He was ignoring her. He was texting every now and again, and he wasn't following through to actually go through the full ex-back process. And when I pushed him to do that and he got her back, then he finds out that she actually did want him back and she was missing him. That's the thing you got to understand about women. They have some similarities to us, but they are very different, right? They go about their dating and relationship life differently. It's the same with sex. Women walk around acting like they're not interested in sex, but they're just as interested in sex as men are, yet they go about it in a different way, right? So you shouldn't wait around hoping that your ex-woman makes it really obvious that she wants you back, and then she calls you up and says, hey, I miss you, can we catch up, can we get back together? Or she just arrives at your door one day and just says, I'm here, I want you back, I miss you. That does happen in some cases, but not in most of the cases where guys actually need help. When guys are looking for help to get their woman back, they're usually in a situation where the woman has lost respect for them, has lost attraction for them, and has fallen out of love with them as a result. So if you want to get your woman back, you need to have the balls to make something happen. You need to have the balls to get her respect back, get her attraction back, and go through the ex-back process with her. By the way, if you need help with having that type of confidence and knowing what to do each step of the way, I recommend that you watch my program, Get Your Ex Back Super System. When you watch the 10 hours of video, you'll become emotionally strong. You'll become more confident than you felt in a long, long time. You will feel worthy of her again. You will know that you can get her back. You will remember that you are a cool guy. You do have what it takes to make her feel attracted to you again. When you watch the program, you will also learn new ways to attract her, new ways to make her feel respect for you, and new ways to make her fall back in love with you again. So just to close up here, I want to point out again that some guys are blocked by their woman and they can't call her, but every other guy who isn't blocked should be calling. The guys who are blocked, I also can help with that as well. The techniques in my program get her to unblock you, get her to re-add you on social media, get her to agree to meet up with you. That can be done. Those are difficult cases, but you can still get through it. You can get her to unblock you, you can get her to be willing to text with you and then get on a phone call and meet up with you. You can do that. What you need to understand about women is that they are actually quite flexible when it comes to men. Your woman might be behaving in a cold way towards you now. She might be distant. She might not be very agreeable and might not be going along with what you want to do. However, that's because you'd be using an approach that is causing her to react in that way. For example, asking for another chance, talking about the relationship, texting back and forth with her, acting like just a friend, and so on. What you need to do is focus on getting her to respect you as a man. Make her feel attracted to you. Get her to start reconnecting with her feelings. You have to have the balls to make that happen, and you have to have the balls to lead the way. Even the most cold, bitchy, closed-off woman can bring her guard down if a guy uses the right approach with her. Right? If he's not intimidated by her, if he's able to use humor to lighten the mood, if he's able to get her to respect his confidence and get her to feel like a woman when she's interacting with him. Actually, one extra point that I'm going to add in here is that getting an ex-woman back is actually a great opportunity for you to transform and become a bigger and better man than you ever have been before, right? You have been challenged by this breakup, right? She has dumped you, she is not getting back with you, and you're stuck. You're either going to continue on being the way that you are and not get her back, or you're going to transform. You're going to step up to the plate and become a bigger, better man than you ever have been before. You may be a great man already, but you can be better. You may be a confident man already, but you can be more confident. You may be emotionally masculine at work or around your friends, but what really counts is, are you emotionally masculine around her? In other words, do you have balls around her? Do you have the balls to call her? Do you have the balls to get a meetup? Do you have the balls to re-attract her and get her back when you meet up with her? That is what counts.